Hey Geggy Tigers, it's your friendly neighborhood art teacher, Mrs. Kirkpatrick, here to give you a tour of my treehouse that I built this week. And I had a lot of fun building this treehouse. I actually did this project with my son Luke. So the two of us worked together to collaborate and make this treehouse almost entirely out of things that would normally have been recycled. I think the only thing we didn't use that would have been recycling is well, there's a few things, so I'm going to give you the full tour. And there's a couple features that I think turned out so good that I just want to share with you how I made them so that you could try it. If you haven't had a chance to try them, you could try it too. So let's get started with our grand tour. The first thing I want to talk to you about, I'll just start at the ground floor, is we had a stable box, and I picked a box that was the stiffest, most thick material that I could because I knew it would hold up the branch that I already had and also some cardboard that I already had. So I chose that, and I used scissors to poke a hole in the box for the branch, and then I also used a slot that was already in the box to insert another piece of cardboard that was relatively thick so it could support a lot of weight. So once I got those two things in, I knew I needed one more point of support because as I was putting a platform on, I had this platform with a hole in it already from a box that was a noodle box. And so as I put that platform on the cardboard and the branch, it was a little wobbly. It needed a third point of contact to stabilize it. And in my plan, I had included a plan to use half of a paper towel roll to create a slide as an exit from the treehouse. So I did that, and I was able to create this slide as a third point of contact from my platform down to my base. And that really did help to stabilize it. So I started off with this base, and then I built the platform. I cut out another piece of cardboard for my second story platform to create like a sun deck. But let's start at the bottom. So here Luke made a little sign. On one side it says welcome, on the other side it says come back soon. And then we did use hot glue to glue little rectangles of cardboard up to create a ladder from the ground floor up to the first level of our treehouse. That is the way people can get up into our treehouse. So we thought about how are people going to get up? We used a ladder. Once we got to the main floor, we decided that we wanted to have a little fire pit area with some seating, some chairs, and later I'm going to show you how to make these awesome little chairs out of a toilet paper tube. So I have a regular sized toilet paper tube, and from that tube I made two of these little chairs, and I'm going to show you how to do that because it was really fun and it was really easy. So we had two chairs, and then we had a little fire pit, and the fire pit was made just out of some supplies. I had these packaging foam cylinders that were really easy to cut. So we used these for a couple different parts of our treehouse. And then I also had like a silver grommet just in my stash of miscellaneous art supplies. Luke created a fire out of tissue paper. Then we also created a hammock on this main level, and we made that out of felt. So that wasn't a recyclable material, but it was a piece of felt that we already had. We snipped some holes on each end and took string and just threaded it through those holes. So we had 4 holes on each side, and then we just tied our hammock up so somebody can relax in that hammock whenever they want to. We also used some of that foam tube to cover the entrance, the top of the slide entrance, and we attached that with a slot construction. So we cut a slit on each side of that foam and slid it onto the cardboard platform of that story. Part of this main level too is our tire swing. We took another piece of that foam tube and sliced it off and used string to tie it onto this branch that hangs out, and we created a tire swing. And that's our main floor, basically. Going up, there are signs that Luke made on this post here, and one points you to the zip line and one points you to the tire swing. I said zip line. There's a zip line in this, and I'm going to show you that in just a second. So from this first floor, we made a little ladder. I'm going to show you how to make the ladder after I give you this tour, because that was really fun and it's something you could totally do with cardboard and string. So made our ladder to climb up to our sky deck. And our sky deck, we made these 2 lounge chairs. And the sky deck we thought would be a really great place for people to be able to go up and either enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the scenery and the view, or maybe go up there and stargaze on a clear night. So we created these little lounge chairs, and I'm going to teach you how to make this because we used the foam tube and a piece of cardboard to make these little loungy chairs, but you could also use half of a paper towel roll or half of a toilet paper tube. It doesn't have to be this foam. So I'm going to teach you, this is the third thing I'm going to teach you how to make at the end of this video. And then Luke took more of that felt and he made little pillows to go in these chairs so that people can be very comfortable when they go up to the sky deck. So there's 2 chairs on the sky deck, and there's also a zip line. And I am just going to show you, if I can show you like an up close of this zip line. You can see here we used a soda tab, and I took a pipe cleaner, we took a pipe cleaner and we just threaded it through and twisted it up to make 2 handles. And then we had this blue wire, and the wire travels all the way from the top down to right here. We made a bumper where we connected it to the ground. So if somebody needs to get from the very top sky deck to the ground quickly, they can on the zip line. And I'm going to see if I can just show you how it works really quickly. So there it is up at the top, and I'm going to unhook it. It's on a little notch, and it's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Boom, there it is. So thanks for joining me for a tour of my treehouse, and stick around. I'm going to show you how to make those 3 things. I'm going to show you how to make my little camp chairs for the fire. I'm going to show you how to make this rope ladder, and I'm going to show you how to make this little lounge chair. Stick around. I'm going to show you how to create these 3 elements in my treehouse that I thought turned out so cool. The first thing I want to show you is how to use a toilet paper roll, an empty toilet paper roll, to create these little chairs that were right next to my fire. So I started off, I wanted to make 2, so I took this and I flattened it. And I'm going to fold it in half just so that I have 2 pieces that are the same size. So folded that in half, and I'm just going to cut it on that fold. So I have 2 pieces of tubing that are now the same height and size. Boom. So the first thing I did was just decide to make a seat. So I'm going to make 2 cuts that are the same length, and they're not going to go all the way through. So they're going to go maybe about halfway down. So I cut about that far, and I'm going to do another one not quite halfway around. So I made 2 cuts. Now I'm going to take this flap that I created, and I'm just going to push it down inside the toilet paper roll. So at first, I kind of just wanted to leave it like that. I thought this was like a modern little chair, and it would be really cool to just be able to sit in this little chair with high sides, kind of cozy up in there. But then I thought, well, I could try and play around with this and see what else I can do. So then I decided to make some arms. So I'm going to make 2 more cuts. You could leave it like this, or I'm going to make 2 more cuts to create like a separation between the back of the chair and the arms of the chair. So I made 2 cuts there and there, and I'm going to take these arms and I'm going to fold them down. these two pieces on the side, those become arms, and here's the back of my chair. Now you could leave those arms long like that. You even could put like a little cup holder in there if you wanted to. You could fold them. I ended up just trimming mine so they weren't quite so long. And giving them a nice good fold. And there's that little chair. Could totally leave it like that. Has a little back, little arms. But I decided, what if I made legs? How could I make it look like it actually has 4 legs instead of just a solid base? And you can do that. So I just started cutting off. I started in front and I cut off like a little rectangle space. So I'm going to do that. Just cutting up and over and up again. And I'll show you this in just a second. So here's the piece that was in there, and I cut that out. So I'm going to do the same thing on the back, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the sides, and in the end I'm going to have 4 chair legs. So here I go, same thing on the back. So there you have it. I cut out a little rectangle from each of the 4 sides of this chair, and now from here to here, I have a cute little chair that you could easily have a comfy fireside chat in. All right, next thing I want to show you is that ladder, that rope ladder, because that turned out so good. So I have a piece of string that I pretty much folded in half so that it can hang. And I have some pieces of cardboard. So I'm going to show you how I attach this one. You don't even have to tie knots on this. So I have these pieces of rectangular cardboard I cut out, and I have to cut 4 slits in each piece of cardboard. So I have to cut 1 here, here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to cut 4 slits in this, and I want to be careful because they're opposite each other. I want to be careful not to cut all the way through. So here's slit number 1, slit number 2, 3, 4. So now I have the 4 slits cut. Now I'm going to add it to my ladder. So I'm going to have it right like that. And I'm going to just push that string and notch it into the top slit on one side. And I'm going to take my string and just wrap it around. It's going to go into that bottom slit. I'm going to wedge it into the bottom and come all the way up and around, down into that top slit again. So now that side is secure. I'm going to do the other side. Going to trying to do this backwards. Notch it into the top slit. There's more than one way to do this too. And then I'm going to wrap it into that bottom slit and around to the top slit again. Just wedging it in those 2 cuts that I made. And now I have that piece in place, and I can add as many of those as I need to. And the main thing I had to think about is making sure that I cut the string longer than the distance it needed to go, because it had to have enough string to wrap around each piece of my ladder. So there is how I made that rope ladder. There's one more thing I want to show you how to make, and it is those little lounging chairs that we made for our top deck in our treehouse. So I had a piece of cardboard from a box and folded it so there's like a back and a seat, folded it for a little footrest. You don't even need a footrest. You just fold a rectangle of cardboard however you want it to be, like a lounging chair. And then I'm going to use this foam, this packing foam, and you could use this, but you also, if you wanted to, you could also use anything that's a similar shape. So you could use a cardboard roll too. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it in half to get started. And I want the halves to be almost exactly the same size. So I'm going to cut one point, and then I'm going to go exactly across from that and cut that in half. So now I have 2 pieces, and if I try and match them up, they should be as close to the same size as possible. And if they're not, if one is like longer than the other, you can trim them so they're the same size. On each one of these now, there's going to be 2 slits. I'm going to cut a slit to insert on the seat of the chair and on the back of the chair. So I can kind of even look and figure out where those points of contact are going to be. And now that I see them, I'm going to cut, but I'm not going to go more than halfway across. It's a small little cut. Cut and cut. So on my cuts there and there, on the second piece, they should be spaced. The cuts should be spaced the same distance apart. So I'm going to match them up and just kind of make a mark with my finger about where I should make the cut on this piece to make sure I space them correctly. Okay, those 2 match. The other cut I have is over here. I'm going to hold my finger there so I can see where to go with it. Little cut. All right, so now I have 2 cuts in this piece and 2 cuts in this piece. And now I'm just going to add these pieces to my chair. So I'm going to slap that into the seat and into the back. Boom, boom. So cool, so easy. Same thing on the other side. And if it pops out while you're positioning these, that's okay. And now we have it. Our lounging chair. And you can slide these higher or lower to make it sit the way you want. Awesome little lounging chair right there. So that's what I wanted to share with you. If you want to try these out, we had a really good time making them. Thanks for joining me today. Keep being creative, and I'll see you guys next time. So long.